Okay, this is important. Okay, so let's say, for example, if you're playing the piano and you do a really good performance and you got everything really good and you go on for uh, 5 minutes, um, and everything is good, but the very last note, it's off, right? That last note is going to uh, stay in the memory of the people who listen to the performance, and it's going to give the strong impression that the performance wasn't nearly as good. So you're way up here, but if that very last note is on a wrong note or a sour note, right, then your opinion of it goes way down, and that's going to be forever your image of the whole thing. So if you hit a wrong note, like let's say in the first 2 minutes of it, that will be forgotten about as long as the end was good. Okay. In my case, like let's say my students, they try to uh, not end on a sour note, and they try to be extra, make a good impression on me at the very end, because that's going to be the most important impression. Because I'm going to be giving their grades pretty soon, right? So they don't want to end on a sour note. And so let's say, for example, you are going out to dinner with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and everything is just perfect, right? Um, and it's just 2 hours of just nice music, and the dinner's great and everything. And at the very end, your credit, you have a problem with your credit card, right? Maybe it's just a problem with the billing, or something like that. Or let's say you knock over a glass of water, right? And that kind of that that's a kind of a sour note, right? It's going to flavor your whole image of the whole thing. You don't want that date to end on a sour note, so you try after that. You're going to try to push the mood up after that. Um, uh, so last week I was finishing up a class, and I was trying to get this final very fun activity done before the time in the class finished, right? Uh, because there was only like 5 minutes left. So on the last class, I always try to be very tolerant and very upbeat, because I want them to have a good memory of my class, even though sometimes I have to be strict, right? And be mean, pretend to be mean, so that they do what they're supposed to do, right? And so, but on the last class, I try to be real friendly, and keep the mood good. But I was in a little bit of a dilemma, because I said, okay, pass your tests forward, okay, and they were taking a long time, and I didn't want to end on a sour note, right? Because that's gonna give them an impression. They're gonna walk out of the last class and think, I didn't like that teacher. So, but they were taking forever. Like one student was like, and I was like, come on, let's go. Don't take all day. But I had to be a little bit light about it, because I didn't want to end on a sour note. Well, luckily the papers came forward, and uh, we were able to have that last activity that was pretty fun, right? So, but I wanted to avoid ending on a sour note. You always want to do that if you've had a good time in the class, right? Uh, Sometimes I'm kind of glad to get out of a certain class, and I don't mind if it ends on a sour note. I just walk out. But but most of the time, my students pretty good, you know, and I'm going to miss him, you know, so I don't want to end on a sour note. So could be anything. I was reading this article recently about a famous couple, and they had gone out to dinner and they had a nice dinner, but then the, once they left the restaurant, then the media started taking pictures of them and getting up in their face and stuff, and so their date kind of ended on a sour note. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting how, like, especially like if you're going to quit a job or something, you're going to try real hard to keep that good, like you had 10 years of good relationship, let's say, and you want to keep that, but like you quit and then the boss gets mad at you, but you're trying to be nice, right? He's mad because you're quitting, right? Because he takes it personally, right? And then you're trying to make everything smooth because you don't want to end on a sour note, because that's going to be the last image in his mind. Yeah, he was all right, but I kind of didn't like him, you know. So anyway, ending on a sour note comes from the fact that the very end of the performance is going to be the thing that you remember, and you don't want to make your last note a sour note, because then everybody's going to think that it sucks. You know what? That reminds me. This is a little bit different topic, but sometimes I play a movie in my class, right? And the very end of the movie is the most important part of it. That's the climax, right? And I can remember this year, this is a little bit different topic, but it was the big dramatic scene, right? And that's when you want everybody to be quiet, right? And this girl takes her water, and she's got this uh, pet, it's called a pet bottle, like it's this plastic, and it's really loud, right? And so that like distracts everybody, you know. It takes them out of the movie world and takes them back into like reality. And that totally like ruined the biggest scene, you know. It's kind of like the same psychology, you know. But anyway, ending on a sour note is you know, the final impression of it is based on the very last part of it will change your memory of it, right? Okay, so I will talk to you on the next idiom.